This Week in the Boardroom, brought to you by NYSE Governance Services Corporate Board Member, along with Governance Knowledge Partners, the Center for Audit Quality, and Grant Thornton, and contributing partners, National Investor Relations Institute, and the Society of Corporate Secretaries and Governance Professionals.
Welcome to this edition of This Week in the Boardroom. I'm TK Kerstetter with the NYSE Governance Services Corporate Board Member, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the show today. We're going to be talking about a very interesting topic called the Board Leadership Academy. And who better to discuss this topic with than our guest today? And that is Keith Meyer, who's the Vice Chairman and Global Head of the CEO and Board Practice for CTPartners. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you, TK. Happy to be here.
So, you know that for a long time, the Exchange and Corporate Board Member has been big preachers of the value of board leadership. We've worked on programs, sort of together somewhat at arm's length, but decided to sort of take this to the next level. So maybe a good place for us to start for our audience today is to just talk a little bit about the birth of the Academy.
That'd be great. I'd love to just go back in time. And after the financial crisis, we stepped back and with your assistance and a few others, tried to look at what was driving the lack of board performance as we came out of the recession and some of the debacles, corporate debacles that occurred during that time. So we went around the world and focused on Europe and the US, and we found that after talking to a couple hundred directors about board performance and what was driving board performance or lack thereof, 5 things kind of came up. One was related to the structural area of a board and how the board's built. 2, the operational aspects of a board, how you think about agendas and information flow. 3, the culture of a board and how you think about the board's dynamic with the CEO and also how the leadership of the board moves the culture in the boardroom forward. But also then how boards look at unplanned and unexpected events. The last piece, the 5th piece, the most important one was, without the right board leadership, the improvement in board performance was very limited. So then we stepped back and partnered with NYSE Governance Services and started to look at how can we move the ball down the field and start to create a way to develop board leaders in a more effective and actually accelerated manner. So it gave birth to the Board Leadership Academy. And so we're very pleased to kind of launch that here shortly and bring together about 12 or 15 very interesting faculty who are current board chairs. Prominent governance experts from Harvard are going to help with the program, and also partner that group of faculty up with a class of about 15 current board leaders who are future board chairs. And that's the genesis of the idea.
Well, it's so fascinating because when you look at it, particularly when you look at the faculty and maybe faculty, that may be the right word, but what it is, it's chairmen that are serving on, Fortune 100 type companies that are there to lend their time to help nurture along individuals that have all the skill sets to be a good chairman in the future.
Right.
And the fact that people get this opportunity to have this one-on-one or one-on-two kind of opportunity is pretty significant. I know as an added feature, we're having the benefit of Duncan Niederauer, the CEO of the Exchange, sort of talking about board relationships with CEO and chairman, which is important as well. But this is right around the corner. This is going to happen in a couple days from now. So what can those attendees expect, or somebody that may be interested in this in the future?
Hopefully 2 things are going to come out of the Academy, TK. Number 1, we're going to have a group of aspiring future board chairmen and lead directors develop one-on-one personal relationships with battle-tested board leaders who've been through the war, been through the battles, and to your point, are very receptive to giving back and sharing their learnings and the lessons that they've kind of had the scars to prove they've been through the battle with those the future board chairs. And number two, hopefully we'll have the individual class members leave with maybe a higher degree of confidence to go back and start to work on some of the biggest challenges in their boards today, and step up and start to take that leadership role in addressing some of those issues, whether they're cultural, structural, operational, or whatever.
One of the highlights for this event is going to be our instructors.
Right.
We have Rob Kaplan and Bob Glauber. People that aren't familiar with those names, Glauber was the Undersecretary of the U.S. Treasury, and Kaplan is like a mainstay at the Harvard Business School and pumped out quite a few of today's CEOs on that side. But these guys are the ones, and they're going to bring their knowledge of all their instruction at the Harvard Business School. It's not supported by the school, but they're going to bring all that knowledge. And the attendees are in for a treat.
Yeah, I don't know if we've fully disclosed to the class how we're going to go through the cases that Bob and Rob are going to present, but let's just say that they need to have their A game, I think, this weekend, because they're going to be asked to be active participants, I think.
Well, I've had the benefit of having these professors when I attended the Harvard Business School's Advanced Management program, and I can tell you this, and we can say this now because it's too late for the attendees, but they better come prepared and they better read the materials, because the reputation is that these professors will make sure that they test everybody by calling on them to find out who has the knowledge or not. But
I don't think you can sit passively in the crowd and expect not to be called on. I think that's that won't happen. So.
Well, it's one of the best experiences that I had in my career. So the benefit of this Leadership Academy, of having the chairmen that are sitting in the positions and having these kind of case studies, this is just going to be a fantastic opportunity.
Our hope is too, TK, that this is the first building block, and from here we'll bring back the class with the faculty, say a year later, and continue to build those personal relationships and expand, if you will, the network of communication flow between, because we're not doing, we're building this so you don't have any Coke Pepsi situations where you've got Coke in the room and Pepsi in the room. So it's not a competitive dynamic, and hopefully there'll be a free-flowing exchange of ideas and insights.
Yeah.
So.
I know I'm excited to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward. So when you look at the Academy, though, and you sort of look out to the future, it was sort of easy. We had our choice of topics galore, and we're going to cover a lot of those topics in this, but we're certainly not covering everything. So when you look at the Academy, Leadership Academy, and look out into the future, tell me what you sort of see as where this could go.
A couple things come to mind. One, it's going to be I think it's going to be determined to a large degree by the interest in the issues that the directors who are involved want to focus on and want to make as a priority. So we're going to let that group kind of decide. But I think there's one major theme that's out there that we're going to have to think about in the future and bring it into the room, which is, if you're a board today, how do you want to operate and improve your performance so that you won't be the first one attacked by an activist investor who believes that a complacent board is a prime target to go after? And so in today's world, I think boards that aren't continuously improving, aren't continuing to upgrade their performance, are more at risk than ever that they're going to have an unfortunate or unplanned external shock or event like an activist threat that comes to fruition. So my view is, if there's interest, we're going to carve off that topic and maybe proceed and dive further into what that means from a board performance perspective and a communication perspective with shareholders and investors. But that might be part of the second phase of the Academy.
Well, I can tell you this, everybody that I talk to is equally excited to go through this, and it's going to be here before you know it. I would like to think that we could get a attendee or maybe even a faculty member to come on the show to sort of give a recap of, what came down on that. That would certainly be exciting for us to sort of see the results of what happened.
And maybe one of the class members that has been a participant in some of these conversations and can really bring back here to you and to your viewers kind of what impact that's had on them and their future performance in the boardroom.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, listen, Keith, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to our session out in Phoenix this coming weekend. So that will conclude this edition of This Week in the Boardroom. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again next week where we take a look at another critical topic that'll help you be a better board member or committee member. And we'll see you then.
Join us again next week for This Week in the Boardroom, brought to you by NYSE Governance Services, Corporate Board Member, along with Governance Knowledge Partners, the Center for Audit Quality, and Grant Thornton, and contributing partners, National Investor Relations Institute, and the Society of Corporate Secretaries and Governance Professionals.